Are you normally a controversial person?
Since I was a kid, yeah. That's why I think it's easy for me to deal with all the backlash I've gotten. It's just, I think I'm just supposed to do it.
So you like being the villain?
Yeah, I enjoy it, yeah.
Why do you enjoy being the villain? You're welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome to
thank you very much.
Conversations and Culture podcast.
I'm ready.
Ride with us.
I'm ready.
All right, guys. Welcome back to Conversations in Culture. Ride with us. And today we have a special guest. I know you all have been waiting for the longer version of our interview, and today is the day. We have Mr. Auston Holleman with us on our new podcast this morning, and we're going to be riding around Nairobi, just really getting to know him.
Okay.
On this great, beautiful day in Nairobi, Kenya. So, welcome to Conversations and Culture. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me again.
Yes. Thank you for being. You know what I've learned? You're really, really easy to work with. Mm-hmm. Everything I suggest, you be like, okay. I'm like, this guy is easy. So let's get into it. Let's start with, again, who you are, where you're from, and kind of tell me your backstory, like a little bit about your childhood, because I think that kind of paved the way on who you are now, why you're traveling and inquisitive the way that you are, and daring and risky to most people, because most people won't do what you are doing at your age. Can you tell me a little bit about just a little bit of your background?
Yeah, so I was born in Fort Worth, Texas, grew up in Arlington, Texas, and as an adult, I was in Dallas, Texas before I decided to start traveling. And I was a barber for, 4 years before I decided to start traveling. Mm-hmm. And what kicked me into traveling was a number of things, but it was let's just say it's a number of things within social life. And, in places like Kenya, there's more of a community aspect, and other places throughout the world where people are just more interactive, and the United States is more isolated, mm-hmm. Generally speaking. And so I could kind of detect that early on, and I went to Brazil, and long story short, I never came back.
Right.
Yeah.
So you went to Brazil from the States, and you never went back to the States?
Not exactly, but I did come back.
Okay.
Mentally, I never did. Like, I remember coming back and not talking to anybody for like 3 months. Mm-hmm. And then I went back again. And then the second time I came back, I was like, the next time I leave, I'm gone. And so when I left, I actually stayed gone, and that was 3 years ago.
Do you feel freer when you're outside of the U.S.?
Yes. Yeah, and I was going to do a video about that, actually, because there's a certain amount of freedom whenever nobody knows you. Mm-hmm. So it's like a fresh start. Mm-hmm. You join the top 1 or 5% of income, so that, that financial freedom makes things a lot more different. The lifestyle is a lot more lax in a lot of places like it's here. Mm-hmm. Even though this is a busier, more progressive African city, mm-hmm. it's still very lax compared to what it would be in the States. Things still move slower here, mm-hmm. and it's not as much pressure. But I know I skipped over a part because you was asking about childhood.
Yeah, you can go back to it.
So I guess we could say I had a single mother, but I knew my father very, very well. It wasn't like I didn't know him at all.
Right.
I knew both sides of my family. I know my father just as good as my mother, but it was a single mother. Mm-hmm. Some domestic violence, not against me, but between the two of those. And you said that how that could have shaped me in some perspectives that I have and opinions, and it very much did. Mm-hmm. I still have a level of common sense.
Yes.
I'm not the guy that's like, I seen your dad do this to your mom, so I'm gonna repeat it. I have enough sense to not do that kind of stuff. I don't think that's really an excuse. I think that's just an anger management problem.
Okay.
But I mean, yeah.
But it shaped you to be. It kind of gave you this. I would say, because, say for instance, my childhood. I, as people may or may not know, I was born to an addict. I was born in 1982.
Oh wow!
When the crack era was heavy, and so my childhood wasn't that stable in terms of what she was able to provide for me. Now I come from a great family, but the decision she made my childhood a living hell. With no stability. And I think what it essentially did for me is, because I never had that kind of stability, being in one place really drives me crazy.
I can see that.
You know what I mean? And so moving around actually works for me. Or being outside the norm worked for me. I don't want to be like everybody else. And that kind of is triggered from my childhood. Okay. So would you say...
Yeah, I mean,
you know what I mean?
Due to domestic violence, I guess, and I'm not trying to make, I don't like to say it because I don't want to sound like I was just in a living hell. Right. But it definitely happened more than it didn't. Well, I mean, it happened enough, let's just say.
Right, and it's your truth.
Yeah.
So we'll move on.
That, seeing things that you couldn't control that would hurt made me stoic. And the financial circumstances of that, us having to move around, food stamps and stuff like that, made me detach easy. Yeah. So it's easy for me to be somewhere and up and move and go to the next spot, or I can decide things really quick just based off the vibe. And yeah, it's easy for me to detach and just go somewhere else and not lose any sleep behind it. Okay, great.
So my next question is, out of the 27 countries you chose to call Kenya home, what drew you specifically to Kenya over everywhere else you've seen?
What do I like the most, basically, about it?
Yeah.
We can say under an umbrella, it's the people, but it's the way how the people interact, how they interact with me and amongst themselves. So that, I mean, of course, there is always I'm gonna get a different treatment, but I can see how everybody talks to everybody like they know them already. That makes me know that, for the most part, it's genuine.
I love that you say it, because I always just keep it simple when people ask me, and I just say the people, right? But I love that you say it's not only the way that the people treated you, but it's the way they treat themselves. That is so true. That's what makes Kenya so magical, when you see how they interact with each other. You're like, dang, man, like, is this real? Like, you guys really like being around each other. Y'all really, and even I've seen people get a full-on argument, almost about the fight. By the end of the argument, they buying each other beers.
Yeah, that happened to me last week. And like, for example, my friend Bobby that I'm always with out here, we would go on double dates sometimes. Okay. The chicks don't know each other. And then we're talking for a minute, they talking, and they're taking photos together. I'm like, they know each other? I'm like, damn, okay, y'all are just that comfortable with each other. That's very different from where we're from. Yeah. We almost had to have, what is it, like a pre-approval from another friend. In America, where it's like you had to be introduced before somebody opens up, or it just takes a lot of time. Especially this Gen Z generation. It's totally different, right? Yeah, I've seen videos of guys trying to walk up and talk to girls, and the girls might just blow them off, and they'll be like, there's people in the comments saying, yeah, why would you walk up to a stranger? Yeah, I'm like, well, that's how people have met each other for thousands of years, but apparently that's true. That's a foreign concept now. So
that's true. Were there any surprises or challenges when you first settled here? You know, things you didn't expect?
No, I would say, I mean, coming from me, because I had already been to 8 or 9 countries by the time I had got here, so I was adjusted to being uncomfortable, or things that I wasn't used to, especially because I was in Tanzania, and that's a bigger culture shock than being here. But Kenya is more of a soft landing. It is. Compared to a place like Tanzania. But No, for the most part, for me though. For somebody that's watching us talk right now and they've never traveled, like, yeah, I fell in a pothole and I had to get on antibiotics. Like, I don't know if y'all are ready for that.
Right.
For potholes big enough for you to fall in it, waist deep.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, with sewage water in it. That was horrible.
What?
Yeah, and I was drunk, but that's not why.
Okay, I was about to say.
That's not why that happened.
Something sounds like it was some drinking involved. That don't sound normal.
That's not why that happened though, because I was walking at a Lavington Mall and they have these potholes, well, these holes in the sidewalk, literally about this big. And I wasn't expecting the sidewalk to just disappear at some point. And yeah, I fell in sewage water, and yeah, I had to get on antibiotics. My leg had got infected.
Okay.
Now that can happen in the States, but it's not a. I don't think
It's different to try to figure out
it's
where
not like
you would,
this.
yeah, where you would get the help from, or how are the healthcare facilities here? Will I be taken care of? I don't know if my leg gonna fall off if I can't get it taken care of. That's the extreme, but I can see how that could be a bit different than being in the States.
Going to the hospital, yeah, you do. If you don't have health insurance, yeah, you will. They're not letting you leave for the most part, from what I felt when I was there.
Yeah, you got to pay that bill.
Yeah. Even when I was in Tanzania, I met this one girl. She was American, and she said that her friend had got hurt. She had to get stitches, and they didn't have the money, so they took the stitches out.
Oh yeah. You pay for what you can afford here.
Yeah, that's
you pay for
for
what
an
you
American.
can afford.
We thinking the doctor needs to go to jail, but yeah, that's not happening here.
No, you pay for what you can afford. The insurance industry here is not the same as in the States. You got your big farmers and all of this, and people are just constantly trying to make money.
Yeah.
Whereby, for the most part, these are private sector hospitals or government hospitals, and not everybody can afford health insurance, just like in the U.S., but it's just a bit different here. So you kind of, you have to pay for what you can afford, and it has to be paid up front.
Yeah, there's less, like you said, big pharma, everybody trying to make money everywhere. Like, if you have a sinus infection in the States, you can't just necessarily just walk into Walgreens and just ask for the antibiotic you need. You have to go to the doctor. That costs money. Then you got to go get that.
So there's a process.
Yeah, versus
just like
here,
everywhere else.
You just say, I have green mucus, and then they just say, oh, well, take this. And you just have to pay for the medicine.
Yeah. So let's get into... So now that you've been here in Kenya, you're a full-time content creator. What made you go that direction in the travel and the full-time content creation?
Like I said, the social life aspect made me travel, and then I got a taste of it, and I could never mentally come back. So I realized at some point I was going to have to move. And the way how I came into content creation was I had that idea, and I was like, oh, let me just tell people about what I experienced when I went to Brazil. And my first video went viral.
Okay,
and so
what?
I just kept pushing it, and before I knew it, my first check was $9,800.
That's crazy.
And so I was like, let me see if I can maintain this, and I was able to maintain it, and yeah, I just took the leap of faith.
Okay, not a lot of people are able to do that, for sure. And so now you're here, you're settled in. Let's get into some of this controversy.
Okay.
People really want to know about this whole Passport Bros situation.
Okay.
All right, so you've been closely associated with Passport Bros movement. How do you personally define what that means to you?
That's a very, very hard question. I get asked a lot, and I cannot properly explain that because it was never created with a proper explanation or a proper... There was no, like I said...
It wasn't attendant.
Yeah, it was just... I think somebody was just throwing something out there, and it became something that they didn't expect. But I think the cliche version of the cliche definition of a passport bro is usually a Black American man who's traveling to date
outside of America.
Outside of America, because we could say traveling to escape racism, but I don't know one person that associates that scenario with passport bros.
Yeah.
It's usually connected to women.
So can you okay, so let me ask you this. When you started traveling, which you are a man, was it, because I'm going to be 100, and we already had this discussion. Let me let you answer, and then I'll add my piece to it. But when you started traveling, was it specifically to travel to find women?
Correct.
Okay.
Right. because the experience I was having in Texas, to be exact, was not, it didn't feel right. So I felt the need to switch. I could have went to another state, which I did, but I felt the need to switch it completely, like something unfamiliar. And then once I got a taste of everything else that came with it, like the option to pick where I want to live and pick the language that I want to speak when I get there, etc., you know, cost of living, then it became bigger where, okay, now I need to stay.
Okay. So essentially it started with women.
How
old were you when you started?
February 2022, so I was still 22, yeah.
Yeah, 22 years old.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say,
Yeah.
he was 22.
Yeah.
Just, okay. For me, I'm a boy mom.
Okay.
And my son is 19. And I know for sure if my son was to start traveling right now, his main focus is going to be women.
Yeah.
Bottom line, it's going to be women. At that age, it's going to be women. And it's probably going to be that way until he's like 30 years old, at least.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so for me, I get it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to shit on you because that's where your mind was at 22 years old.
Yeah, just like most other 22-year-olds.
Yeah. And so fast forward, you're now 26. You just turned 26. Where is your perspective now in terms of, because you've been here long enough, you've got the taste of some of these Kenyan women or women, period.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is your perspective now in terms of how you approach this, seeking for a woman or whatever? I don't know.
I'm still doing the same thing, but I'm not so thirsty with it.
Ooh,
because whenever
that's good.
Yeah. So it's still the same. I'm not trying to get married or nothing right now, but it's just, okay, now I'm no longer a traveler. I'm actually living here. So now I'm trying to create, for example, I'm with you right now. I'm creating responsibilities on a daily basis. When before it was just, let me make sure I got enough money so I can hang out this week. And keep drinking and smoking and seeing as many women as I could see. Versus now, it's like, okay, now I'm back in what I wanted Texas to be like.
Okay.
But in Texas, I was a barber and I had a routine and I had responsibilities.
So you're getting back to a routine and responsibilities now. And so, your perspective has changed a little bit on dating because now you are settled here.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Okay, so let's get into it. I'm going to be honest. I posted pictures of us, videos of us, and people been DMing me, asking me if I'm crazy. Oh, do you know who you taking a picture with? Oh, God, that's a passport, bro. Do you know what he did here? Da-da-da-da, this whole nine. And since I've met you, honestly, I ain't going to put all his business out there in terms of his persona. He is not an asshole. He is not an asshole. And we've had conversation and I'm just throwing out suggestions to you and you're like, yeah, that makes sense. Let me write that down. You know what I mean? You're engaging. You're really easy to work with. It doesn't seem like you were out here slutting or anything like that.
No, it's never been that bad.
No. So, I think a lot of people has had issues with your take on women across the board. Yeah. So let's get into how you feel about Black American women now that you've settled, you've been traveling. Where are you at with that?
I have Black American women friends. Like even the girl that I was telling you about, her friend with the stitches or whatever, she was a Black American. I never hated them, but it was just at that, okay, when I first started traveling, it was a certain level of frustration that had to ease out of my mind.
Okay. That's fair.
I'm trying to think of another scenario where that could happen in somebody's
life.
No,
that's
but
fair.
You know what I mean?
No, that's fair. That's, yes.
So now that, because even when I went back, I was in this mentality, I'm not even going to try. Like, I'm here to see my parents and family, and I'm going. Like, I'm over it.
Right.
The whole thing. But obviously, I don't hate them. But
yeah.
it's just.
But what's your perspective now? Like,
I think if
there has been some bad stuff.
Like what?
That people say you've said. I don't know for sure.
Well, I will say this. I would love for them to go find a video that specifically singled out Black American women. I always used American women because I identified it with a cultural problem.
Okay.
Across the countrywide, it was a countrywide cultural problem I was noticing, not in specific. Now I am aware because I am Black, so I know in specific. My mom is a Black American woman, and she's done a lot of things that I've said, but in specific, I've never done that.
Okay. So people pretty much kind of put words in your mouth.
That's expected, especially when you're doing controversial topics. People are going to say things that you can just click play on the video and it's be debunked.
Are you normally a controversial person?
Since I was a kid, yeah. That's why I think it's easy for me to deal with all the backlash I've gotten. It's just, I think I'm just supposed to do it.
So you like being the villain?
Yeah, I enjoy it, yeah.
Why do you enjoy being the villain?
I don't know. Whenever I was a kid, I used to just test little things in class to see if I could piss the whole class off. Like, let me see if I say it. Let me see when the teacher asks this question, let me see if I can answer it this way and how everybody reacts. And so I was learning how to manipulate people. Now, I'm not saying that I do that intentionally.
It don't seem like that is the core of you.
Yeah.
That doesn't how it comes off to me.
It's a tool.
Thank you. Okay, I'm glad you said that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a persona.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. I don't know where these people are getting the information from. Like, I've seen some of your content, but I didn't dig so hard where I'm just trying to look for something that you said negative. Mm-hmm. Now, I did see some comments with people, with Kenyan women not happy with you.
I have no clue what it is, but I know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. Can you go into that? Can you go into did somebody misconstrue what you said, or what is it? What is the back? Where did the backlash come from in terms of Kenyan women saying, nah, we not messing with him. He think he's all of that because he's American and he's coming to save Kenyan women and all this good stuff.
Yeah, I don't know why, because if you go look at my videos about Kenyan women, which I have done videos about them, there's not one negative video. And there was even one video where I was talking about, it feels good for me to be back in Thailand because I'm tired of the women in Africa asking me for $60. But I never said it was Kenya, and I had just left Ghana and Senegal. Mm-hmm. So, but people like to write their own narratives, but I mean, it's not that many Kenyan women that care about that because my success rate is still very high. Yeah, no, for you mean dating? Yeah.
Okay.
I'm still not losing. It can't be enough to affect my dating life because I haven't really. I mean, I have noticed, but that's like maybe once a month.
Okay.
And most of the chicks that have an issue, I'm not really attracted to them either. Like, they're irrelevant.
Let me ask you this. Do you believe that African American women now are hard to deal with? Or, yes, hard to deal with when it comes to relationships?
Yeah. There's some, I call it, well, it's just a lot of unnecessary stuff that you have to deal with trying to date. And it's a very I'm a very straightforward person. Mm-hmm. When I tried to date there in America, it wasn't very straightforward at all. Like, I felt like I needed a manual to just...
What do you mean a manual?
Like, it was so many steps to just do basic things. Like, if I get a chick's number, like, okay, don't text her for a day or two so you don't look thirsty. Like, that is the only place in the world I've experienced that mentality.
Do you not see some of those similarities here?
Sometimes. Mm-hmm. But the dumb stuff hasn't made it here yet.
Really?
The dumb, like that kind of stuff, like, oh, don't text for 2 days. Listen, because if I get your number and you don't text me for 2 days, I'm gonna forget about you. Mm-hmm. So, but I mean, what is the point of waiting 2 days? Like, what is some sort of marketing scarcity?
I'm not a man, so I didn't have to go through that.
Yeah, see, so there's certain things that we have to go through where it's like, it's not even worth it. Like, it's.
So you prefer to date outside your culture at this point?
Yeah, and I was made to be that way.
Ooh, go into that.
Yeah, because, like, at first, it was okay. Like, I mean, I wasn't thinking about going anywhere, but the stuff I was dealing with was making me be like, okay, I need a new market.
Okay.
Yeah.
You need a new market.
Yeah.
So the stuff that you were dealing with, okay, so I just find that interesting that you say you need a new market. So for me, I'm not one of those freaking angry black women who just get upset because you feel a certain kind of way. Or you have a preference because you have the right to do it. And there are black women who are stepping outside of our culture and dating and moving to Africa and other places of the world because they need a new market. So I think that's fair. The only issue I have, if I'm going to speak for those who are watching who still want to be upset with Auston on his views, is I think my only issue with the other passport bros that are just get online and talk wild ridiculous, it's almost like jokish, like you can't even really take it serious, when you're shitting on black American women to uplift other women. That I don't agree with.
I was like that at one point. But again, not black American in specific, but I was doing what you were saying. But now, like I said, I'm over it. So I'm just going to talk about this in specific. And if you ask me, or I might make a comparison of what I was doing, but I'm not going to go all in. Because I used to go on a rant.
Yeah.
I used to go before I would go on a rant, and you would know exactly what the issue was.
Let me ask you this. Would you be willing to give an apology?
No, because what I was saying was true. Like it was
at the moment.
No, it's still true. Because even when I went back, and the only reason I did re-engage was to do the live streams I was doing. Otherwise, I wasn't even gonna try again. But when I went back last April, I was like, damn, okay, nothing has really changed. Like my experience is pretty much the exact same it was before I left, and I'm not the same person. So I don't know, but I don't care to figure out why. Okay. But yeah, it's just certain dumb stuff I had to deal with when I was there, like just asking how you doing, and that's an issue, or just little basic stuff.
And you find it easier here.
Yeah, I find it more realistic.
So would you say you did say this? You're saying it's a cultural problem.
Yeah.
Are you? So you're not. Let me just make sure. You're not saying that this is a black woman problem.
No, we got some beautiful black women in America, but the way how they do things and the way how I imagine things is not seeing eye to eye.
So it's just you're not compatible.
Not at all.
Okay. Okay. That is
even
fair.
Even when they're here, I'm like, yeah, I talk to them and I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm not dealing with that.
Okay.
Yeah, certain other things is like I can't.
Well, I tried, y'all.
I couldn't before I traveled, and yeah, now that I've traveled, I definitely can't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's move on. So now that we touched on the passport bros situation. My engagement with you have nothing to do with you being a passport bro or your love life or any, and that's why I need people to know. First off, his personal life or whatever his brand is surrounding his personal life has nothing to do with business. I need you guys to understand that part, right? He's a businessman. I'm a businesswoman. We're here in Kenya, number one. We're of the diaspora. And my goal is also to always show a united front, irregardless of what someone's brand is or whatever you may preconceive of him, right? That has nothing to do with me. I always take people for face value. And like I said before, from the time I met him, he was receptive. I honestly thought you were going to be an a-hole, and I thought you would have been arrogant and not even talk to me, to be honest. So let me just put that out there.
I don't know why people, but
and that's the preconceived note because of your brand.
Okay.
So you know that has to come with it because people are just going to assume that your entirety of your personality is who you are on YouTube. Yeah. And we don't get to see the entirety of you, who you really are.
Yeah, the camera, unless if you're watching my live streams, but the videos I put out have an agenda when I make them. Yeah,
you're strategic.
So it's okay, this is what I'm posting this for, this is what I want done. I'm gonna talk this way to get this message across or get this agenda, whatever it is. Versus if you watch my live streams where I'm live for 12 hours, you can see how I naturally interact with people.
Yes. And so you're strategic, you're calculating what you do, as you should be, but that's not the whole of you. So for me, I thought working with you is conducive for us all, especially trying to promote something that we all can benefit from as a collective. Because I think what we tend to do is we cancel each other so quickly, and you throw out the baby with the bathwater. And then when something happens, you're like, well, then why didn't you do it? Well, you Negroes already canceled me, so what else you want me to do?
Yeah.
And that part of the comment section is the part that's pissing me off, because it's people like us that's trying to do something for us collectively. And it's like, the more we do, the more you want. Or the more you complain, or the more you're going to find a problem. Or like, oh, you shouldn't work with him. Why?
Yeah, they do that.
Why?
They do that, yeah.
Why shouldn't I work with him? You tell me why. Because he's a passport bro? He don't have nothing else going on in his life but passport bro. Make it make sense. I'm sorry, it got me upset a little bit. Because
that makes sense.
I don't understand why we do that to each other. So I just went on a whole freaking rampage. Like, how do you feel about what I'm saying? How do you feel about us? Let me ask you. You know, you probably didn't know anything about me, but when you met me, you know, I'm a Black American woman. Did you make any assumptions about me?
No, because I'm like you. I'm past that. Well, I guess I don't know if I was ever like that, but I like to hear and meet people first.
And you honestly was that way when I met you. You was like, hey.
Yeah.
You know your eyes are engaging. Yeah. You know when you look at people, you look like, it's like you looking through their ass.
Everybody says that.
Yeah, okay. But go ahead.
Yeah, I like to listen to people. I've worked with some people before, and they'll be sending me news articles. And I say, oh, well, people send news articles about me too. So let me just really find out. Because the things people say about me, I know I don't behave in certain ways that they may say. So I can listen to the other person the same way. You have to give everybody a chance in person.
Yes. So pretty much you agree with, you know, taking people for face value, getting to know them or whatever. So let's get into just us collaborating with each other and being a part of the diaspora and trying to show this united front. How do you feel about that in terms of us being here and all of us collectively working with each other alongside our Kenyan counterparts?
For me and you in specific, I think it's important just because, number one, it'll weed out the guys that are this anti-Black American woman thing. If they see that they're not even going to enjoy watching the videos. Which,
oh, really?
They're not. We don't need. It's certain things you don't need in the first place. And I say some Americans can bring issues with them other places. You can agree with my stance on American women, but without the hatred part.
Oh, I love that.
So that's important. And then on the other side, you know, you have I don't know what your audience is, but you have a certain audience that maybe I'm not fully in tap with, and bringing two together can bring more awareness to the situation.
Absolutely. I think you've done an incredible job in terms of reaching the audience that you have been trying to target or are targeting. I think that, yes, combining our efforts and both of our audience will only help the collective. Again, for me, everything is about the collective at the end of the day, because we just left from an individualistic society. And the best teacher is being in Kenya. Being around people who are not individualistic, who literally, when you go to their house, they literally sharing food at the same table, drinking at the same table with each other, just making sure that it's a communal kind of interaction and spirit. And so my whole idea of us working together is pulling from our Kenyan counterparts and being able to do the same thing that these people are able to do right here in their own country.
Yes.
Yeah. So are you going to be traveling anymore? Like, Where else would you like to go and see the world and explore?
Now that at first when I first got back here, I said I didn't really need to see anything else. I still don't, but now that I've been here and I've gotten a routine, I'm going on vacation, different places.
Okay.
Like I said, this is like my new, what I wanted Texas to be like. So now I'm going, maybe I want to go to Angola, or I'll go back to Brazil. But then again, I can only stay gone from here for probably about a month.
Right.
I'll still travel, but yeah, it's not. That's why
you
I'm
want to
switching.
be here. Rooted.
Yeah, I had to switch up the way I have my channels because it's going from traveling around to now I had to make something out of being here.
Yeah.
That's why I want to do different informative type of videos.
I see that you've changed. Yeah, you're not changing. But you're evolving in your content. More informational content. And I like the way that it's going. What has been the reception? Because I know people just want to keep you in a box for the most part.
A lot of people do want to keep you in a box, but for the majority, maybe 80% of the comments I see are positive.
Yeah.
20% are like, oh, like, we need you to go back outside. And it's like, yeah, I mean, I have 2,000 videos doing it. There's obviously that's not sustainable in the way I wanted it to be. But it can still be fused together with both. So one of my subscribers told me it was adding context to what I say in my videos.
Oh, yeah.
Like I have a video today coming out about racism in Latin America. And that's something I talked about, but now I can go historically into it, or certain events and things that happen and add actual content that you can't. Because they like to gaslight me and say I was just making stuff up and it was my, whatever, wherever you go, there you are, all that kind of stuff. But no, I have history documents to prove that this is what happened. Is something that was made by design. And so yeah, I think those videos are kind of, they bring in a different audience too. Less trolls on top of that. That's another reason I don't talk about women anymore, because it's just a bunch of drama.
It is, and it can get very drama filled.
Yeah,
you know, especially if you're pinging people against each other. I think that can get a little messy. So yeah, I agree with you. Just evolve, keep on evolving.
Yeah.
I
think that's there's a time limit to talking about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it really is, and like you said, I'm glad you said it. There's no sustainability in that.
Yeah, no, not even in your personal life, because people look at those videos.
Do people expect you to? Well, I expected you to be one way. Is that something that you see on a daily?
No. The women that I meet, I think they pretty much have figured out from watching the videos. But the ones that say the things like arrogant, they're not. I would never meet them. I don't think, as far as Kenyan women, when I'm in other countries, yes, even when I would only say positive things, and when I was in Brazil, like, yeah, they would still put me in like this womanizer, Andrew Tate kind of, I don't know what they were thinking, but it wasn't positive.
So, let's get into it. Oh, wait, let me tell you. Somebody reached out to me on LinkedIn and was worried about us working with each other again. And then they sent me an article. I'm gonna keep it a buck. I didn't even look at the article. So they said something happened in Brazil with you. Can you go into that?
Yeah, so I was still in the stage of comparing and contrasting.
Okay.
American women to, at that time, pretty much only Brazil. Well, I guess I had to been to 3 countries, about Brazil.
Okay.
And there was an interview I had did on the beach where, I asked a couple questions and it was like, oh, like, look at how different this is over here. Y'all need to get y'all's passports. And I cut it. And it, like I said, I have a certain agenda with how I edit things and say things. So the way I cut it, I got the result I wanted. It went viral. And I think in the first 24 hours, it got like 20 million views, but it wasn't positive.
Right. There's a whole article. I mean, I opened it, I read the top part, and I was like, okay.
So I was able to accomplish my goal, but it just didn't go the way how I wanted. And to the point where I was like, okay, I need to get the hell out of here, because there was a politician she's the one that got all that.
What?
Yeah, she's the one that got all that stuff published on CNN.
Wow.
And, Mundo Negro and Global. So she did that, and so they actually had to open up like a criminal investigation, and it was not.
What?
It wasn't a legit investigation, because there was no crime that was committed in the video, but she was trying to throw something out there to see if it would stick, or she was trying to use how corrupt her country is and just get them to just lock me up and forget. Because when I went from Brazil to Thailand, and my landlord called me and told me that the police were there looking for me. Yeah.
What?
She was trying to get me. Whatever her goal was, she was trying to accomplish it. And she was pretty close. But the minute I saw how much traction that video was gaining, I was like, yeah, I'm going to leave just in case this gets too bad.
Okay. Wow. That's crazy. So in hindsight.
I went back to Brazil and I've stayed for 7 weeks. So.
Okay.
But that was like after.
But you did say that was in the period that you would do the contrasting.
I was intentionally trying to be a villain at that point. Yeah. At that point in my career, I was intentionally, I wanted people to hate me. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, y'all heard it there. He addressed it there. You did a video the other day, which I commented, and I'm like, this is a great conversation. Mm-hmm. You talked about people not being happy or welcoming when you return home the way you may have expected it. Or may not be on the same page that you're currently on now, because you have the life experience and travel. Let me tell you, for me, travel has been my university. You know what I mean? Can you dive deep into like what you've been dealing with in terms of family, friends, and their, whatever their feedback is thus far on where you're at in life?
So one thing that I've said before is the longer I stay gone, the more disconnected I come from family and friends. And I want to say that carefully because I don't want my mom and my dad watching it.
Not your mom and dad.
About them,
yeah.
Because they would probably think that, I don't know. But family and friends do become more disconnected as you immerse yourself in a different culture. Because there's less to relate. There's less to relate with, and they don't. When you share stories with them, they can't share anything back, and if they do, you're probably not interested. At least in me, for the most part, a lot of stories that I hear back home are not interesting at all.
Okay.
And yeah, I would say that you just become disconnected, and for some people, there could be a sense of envy because they can't do what you do.
That's true. No, that's true. So how do you navigate that?
I'm an is what it is type of person, so I'm just not going to talk to you.
What do people think about when you say, hey, I live in Africa now, I live in Kenya now? What's the feedback from friends or associates?
Is it safe? Do they have malls? Wear a condom.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's usually the response. Like I say in my videos, HIV, malnutrition, and huts is what people think.
And that is not the truth.
Yeah, it's
far from the truth.
If you are seeing huts, malnutrition, and HIV, it's probably rebels nearby, and that's probably 10 hours outside of Nairobi.
It's not a reality for everyday Nairobian.
No,
it's not a reality at all. Yeah, I get people say, oh, do you have lions outside? Or I'm like, do you know how many Kenyans who never seen a lion, ain't never been to a safari? Right. Ever.
I've met some that haven't even been to the safari that's in the city.
Yeah. Never. And so the questions can be so asinine. What is some advice that you would give to anyone that is looking to travel to Kenya specifically, or even relocate?
If you're looking to come to Kenya, you have to stay off of National Geographic and the Discovery Channel. Because that's what's teaching you about malnutrition. You need to watch channels like ours and actually study them.
Yeah.
Actually get online and speak to some locals. That's what I did before I went to Brazil. I actually just not Tinder or anything. I went on Instagram and just found people and just actually learned through those people online that Brazil was just another country.
Well, how much would you say a single man would need to be making?
It only cost me about $1,200 a month, I think, for like the survival costs. Like my gym membership, well, that's not survival, but gym membership, rent, water, electricity, around every groceries, Uber's $1,200 a month. But
$1,200.
The excess, now I probably only reach around $2,500, $3,000.
Right.
So.
But that's not including travel, because you have been traveling here.
Oh yeah, without
a little
that,
bit.
Just in
without
Nairobi,
that, within. Okay. Yeah,
I would
that's
say
about
$4,000
right.
though.
That's with travel?
No, just if you want to live in Nairobi as a single man, you don't need.
I like
4,000.
your numbers though. I like your numbers because what typically happen is people will give them low numbers, right?
Yeah, I don't know why they do that.
Right, as if yes, it's more affordable here because something of what you doing in the States would cost you, oh my God, what $15,000-$20,000
At least 15,000.
right,
yeah.
a month to do that. So you've cut your costs tremendously. However, people misinformation or give misinformation on the cost of living of what you would actually spend, including everything that you're saying, especially being a man who wants to date. So I like those numbers because those are more reasonable numbers.
Yeah. Some people do that. Whenever I talk about how much my apartment costs, or what, if I had this conversation on YouTube about what men should want to spend, and I say, oh, 1 bedroom for an American man coming here, you're probably going to spend $400 to $500. Now, I know you can find one in Kenya for $150.
Yeah, but then
for an American man, go show them where that apartment is.
I was about this. I would never
go show them where it's at. They're not going to want to stay there.
No, you can't. So we don't even offer that.
Yeah.
We don't even offer that because we already know, to your point, you ain't gonna have the amenities that you want.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be as nice as you ain't even gonna look at it.
Yeah.
So we only do premier relocations. So our cost level starts at least $750, $800.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to tell the audience in terms of the JBE or anything?
Well, like you said, being around a bunch of people that have a similar mindset is building the perfect network. And that's the most important part of doing the journey back to Eden, is being around people that can actually help you. Not be the guy trying to get an embassy flight back where you can help yourself with that, but not spending $7,000 to furnish an apartment when you need it for $4,000. That's the importance of the journey back to Eden, and that's why you need to be there.
You didn't have to bring that. But yeah, I agree. So anyway, guys, make sure that y'all like, comment, share, and subscribe to this video. Make sure if you are interested in joining us for the JBE, go to Austin's link in his bio. But you can also go to tverse.com and book your ticket. We want to see you there this December. Okay. So we have had the opportunity to talk in the car, discuss some really crucial, conversation pieces in the car. But now we're here at your humble abode. Please tell us a little bit about why you chose this area. You don't have to say specifically where you live. And what's the cost of living? And then if we can have a tour, can we get a tour?
You can absolutely have a tour. So, if you know, this is a Kilauea, Lavington sort of border area.
Right.
I chose this area because it's not as crowded as Westlands.
Oh, yes.
Number one, there's people begging in Westlands. I've never been begged on the street here. It is a quiet neighborhood at night. I think most of Nairobi is at night, but it's definitely quiet here. And yes, it's not as walkable as Westlands, but it's not too far. Like right across the street, there's a water refill station, a restaurant, a pharmacy. Down the street, there's a Quick Mart, and there's another grocery store next to that one. There's Valley Arcade right there. So, and I can walk there in 10 minutes if I wanted. Well, maybe let's say 15 minutes if I wanted to.
Right.
So it's nearby, and it's not too far from Gigiri, where Village Market is at. It's not. It's 15 minutes from Karen. It's somewhat central. And I don't have to worry about an 8-minute ride turning into 2.5 hours. Like when I used to live in Upper Hill and I had to go through Westlands. So, yeah, and Westlands is overpriced if you ask me, because this is $750 a month for a 2-bedroom, 2-bath.
Wow.
First person to live in it, and in Westlands I think this would be about $1,500 at least. Yeah. So it's
even some parts of Kilimani.
Yeah, so you save a lot of money by moving to this area without being too far from all the action.
Correct.
Yeah.
So it's centrally located. You said it's quiet. It's a bachelor's pad, so you definitely want to make sure it's quiet.
Yeah.
I'm messing with you.
Well, it is a bachelor's pad. It is a bachelor's pad. It's a party pad too.
We get into it, guys. All right. Can you give us a tour?
So, number one, this is my award.
Shout out
to
100,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
Wow. How long it took you to get to 100,000?
Around 22 months. Yeah. So
What?
I'm almost at 150 now. I'm at
I saw.
142. Yeah. So.
What?
But that's almost 3,000 videos.
Yeah, but I mean, it's still hard work. It's consistency, and it typically take people longer than that to get to 100K.
Yeah.
Yeah. So congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you.
Proud of you, man.
This is They told me this is where you put shoes. I don't think I'd ever put shoes in here. So
Do you have OCD?
I think my mom passed it down to me. I don't think I was born with it, but
I think you have OCD.
She passed it down. But yeah, I have like medicine in here. Like my barber equipment and stuff. I used to be a barber in the States, so.
He's OCD-ish. We walked in, we smelled the incense. You know, he says he cleans his own house. It's pretty clean in here. He has OCD.
Yes.
Just for the ladies, he's clean.
Yes, they need to be very well aware of that. But this is just the second bathroom. It's a sink that goes in here. Unlike, I don't know in the States that they put them on the outside too. I think everything's inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we
So
have
it's
a
your
shower.
bath and a half. Oh, this is a whole shower.
Yeah.
In the guest bathroom. Nice.
Refrigerator. Dedication that I moved to Nairobi. Nobody buys a refrigerator and a washing machine, a TV if they're not staying.
This is
So
true.
this is my dedication.
Yes. You got your air fryer.
Air fryer, smart pot.
I saw you cooking.
Yes.
What did you cook? It looked like it was Kenyan food.
Goat meat. Yeah. Goat
Was
meat
it
with
a
okra.
Kenyan dish or what you? Oh,
No, I just made. Yeah,
you
it
just
wasn't
put
a
it
specific
together.
dish. Yeah.
You like cooking?
I love it.
Okay.
Having a bachelor plate, you have to know how to cook too.
Okay.
You have to be impressive.
Shout out to your mom.
Oh yeah, shout out to her. She definitely put me on with that kind of stuff.
That's good. Okay. Austin cooks. He cooks. Okay, let's go. I love that.
Like you said, microwave, air fryer, dishes and stuff like that. Sink.
You got a full patio.
Full patio. And I recommend if you were to stay in most places in Nairobi that you get turf.
Okay. I
because-
don't have that on mine.
Yeah, I had to add turf, but the reason I did it was because when I first moved here, they have construction over here, and that I couldn't keep it clean. So then I'd always track it inside, so I had to mop like every single day.
You have
So
OCD.
Yeah. Well,
confirmed
I gotta stay ready, so I don't have to get ready.
I know that's right.
That's what I had to do. And then I have a washing machine, and of course.
Let me ask you this. Between the three items, your refrigerator, microwave, and washer, how much did it cost?
$560.
Okay.
So, but that was the bulk.
So
of everything.
$1,000 for everything.
Yeah. And yeah,
And then you bought your TV. How
The
much was the
TV.
TV?
I think I paid $600.
Okay.
$600, but those don't account for what it actually costs to furnish in Nairobi, just because those appliances are just appliances. But like this couch, which I would get a bigger one if I had to redo it, but I had it custom made. I think it was like $380 or $400, and the rug was maybe $50 or $60, I think.
So everything in total, how much you think you spent to furnish your 2-bedroom apartment?
Oh, $7,000.
7,000?
Yeah. I kept track of that. 7,000.
Well, I gotta see what you spent $7,000 on.
I had it wrote down. I'm gonna have to go back and figure it out.
I gotta see what you spent Woo! Okay.
And that sound now she's making me feel bad because I don't have dressers yet because I haven't been able to find the dressers.
Yeah, we're gonna help you get the dresses.
Yeah. But
I still think on your own, I think you did okay.
Oh, thank you.
You should have worked with Traverse Culture, but we gonna get you out.
I'll make sure I do that. I'll click the link myself.
Yes.
But I have my guest bed. I don't sleep here. This is my guest bed whenever we have parties.
Okay. For your friends, they stay here.
Y'all get too lit. Y'all don't have to leave. Y'all can stay here. Not all of y'all, but some of y'all.
Are you a good, like what is it? A hostess?
Yes, absolutely.
This is spacious.
Now I'm washing my pillow sheets.
Yeah.
So, but
that's fine.
Anyways, this is my room. I have to get dressers to go here still. I've gotten everything for the apartment but dressers for some reason. Closet in here. I have a mirror. and I still had to get a patio set for out there.
Wait, this is a separate one?
Yeah, it's a maybe, I don't know, something would keep me in here more, but.
We gotta get you a TV and a mount and the whole thing. Do you want one?
I've been on the fence about getting a TV.
Really?
Yeah, because
I put a TV in every room in my house.
I do fall asleep faster without the TV. And that's something I've learned outside of the States where people didn't have TVs in their room. In the States I did, but yeah, now that it's not here.
You sleep better without it?
I think my mind associates it more with relaxing and that more with entertainment.
That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna harp on that.
And I have my bathroom here.
Nice full-size shower, bathroom. Yeah. So I think, what we think the square footage on this is?
I wish I knew.
I'm thinking we're looking at about maybe 950 square feet.
That sounds about right.
Little, maybe a little big. Maybe 950. So that's not bad for that price. $750 for roughly 950 square footage. You furnished it, so this was unfurnished. So that's a really good price. And you're in Kilauea. Is this where you want to be, or what's the future? Are you looking to build? Are you looking to do anything else? I mean, you're still young, so.
I think that has a lot to do with it. I don't know about building, but I do know that I like living in Gigiri, or Kitisuru, I should say. Okay. I never stayed in Gigiri, but Kitisuru, I liked it. Only thing is that area is not walkable at all for the most part. Like, yeah.
You mean centrally located, or?
No, I mean like. Well, maybe it was a neighborhood I was staying in where I wanted to go to the grocery store just to get to the gate of the places I was staying at would take me about 15 minutes to walk.
Okay, I see.
And then there wasn't much there
to do, yeah.
Like looking at it outside, besides going that way, there's still restaurants and stuff around
this
that
is
way
centrally
that
located
I can walk to,
where you can walk to,
Gigiri wasn't like that for the most part.
And then you could get an Uber even if you want to go to Kilimani, you want to go in town.
That's another thing. The Ubers are usually waiting outside in these areas, so you don't really, it's like 60 seconds at most you have to wait, versus Gigiri, it might be 10 minutes sometimes. And maybe if it's by Village Market, not Gigiri, Kitisuru. Gigiri is pretty quick too, but yeah.
Okay. Well, we've taken a tour of his bachelor pad here. He's been able to relocate himself here, get everything together. You guys heard about the conversation that we had in the car. Make sure that you like, comment, share, and subscribe to this video. Do you have anything to say to the audience?
I should not be the only Black American man with a bachelor pad like this, and you should let her not let you spend what I spent to furnish it, because I wish I would have knew her before now. So make sure you click the link so that you can do it the right way.
I'm sorry that I made that expression. I'm sorry. I'm just like, oh.
No. I was going to use that later.
Okay.
I make sure I use that later.
All right, y'all. Make sure that y'all watch this full video. You guys have already been asking when we're going to drop the Auston video. So we did this just for you all so you guys can see the other side of him and also let us tell his story with him as opposed to somebody else telling his story, and cut it out with the comment section. If you say anything negative, it's a wrap. I'm deleting it, period. Peace.